Hey, GW coming to you live. Hey, listen, I read something yesterday and I did a couple of checks on it, and the horror community has lost an icon on November 6th. And if you guys don't know who I'm talking about or haven't seen the news, Tony Todd passed away. And Tony Todd was the actor that played Candyman. In fact, every movie you saw him in, you're like, dude, that's Candyman, just like you do with any other actor. He was also the mortician on the Final Destination films, and he was also on the remake of Night of the Living Dead. You know, not the old black and white one, but the new one. It's pretty sad because I just watched Candyman not too long ago, and he created an icon. Now, Jordan Peele, I believe, redid the franchise and actually had him do a cameo. But it wasn't the same. And Tony Todd was 69 years old. As of right now, I couldn't find a cause of death, on Wikipedia or Google. So it's pretty sad because that guy was pretty cool. He had this. The thing I think about Tony Todd is when he acted, he could just say the most casual line and make you frightened. Or he could say something and it sounded utterly eerie, and he could say, I'm going to the store. He'd be like, I'm going to the store. And it would sound, chilling. And I think that's what captivated millions of audience. Not to mention Candyman. If you guys have not seen that, very good slasher film. Very controversial story behind Tony Todd's character in that movie. But I just wanted to come on and tell you guys that, Tony Todd did pass away. And it's sad. You know who also passed away? I can't think of the guy's name, but I saw it yesterday as well. From the original Little Shop of Horrors. Not the one with Rick Moranis and, Steve Martin. But the one before that, the very, very first movie they did. I think Roger Corman might have been involved. I don't know. I've never seen that film. I know was black and white. The man who played Seymour, he passed away as well. So the horror community took another hit. A lot of people don't know about the black and white film because they just associate that with, the Rick Moranis, Steve Martin vehicle, which that was really neat in and of itself. But yeah, sad day for horror fans. Just learned it yesterday. And there's a couple of fan films on the internet too, because I was dicking around, looking around at stuff. Somebody actually did the Texas Chainsaw Sawyer family, and I watched this thing. And you know what? It is very, very well done. It's not like the garbage like you see with some of these remakes, especially the new Netflix thing. I know a lot of people like that, but it just didn't hit for me. I'm sorry, it missed completely off the board. But anyway, enough trash in that film. That this one actually took the ideas from the original movie and picked it up 6 weeks later, and it was filmed in that all grainy, look of the 70s, and it had a pretty good story. The cast actually looked like the characters they were supposed to be. The dialogue was amazing. If it was given better funding, it could be, guys, it could be the true sequel. So something interesting happened to me this week, and I'm just going to talk about it. I didn't do anything about it, but I'm going to tell you guys about it. So, you know how you guys write me and I write you back and everything. So, this woman wrote me and she says, hey, I've been watching your channel, and you really know what you're talking about. And there's a lot of things you do right on your channel, and there's a lot of things that I can help you with. If you want your channel to be monetized, give me a call. Something like that. Well, first off, whoever you are, I think your name is Mimi, something like that. I appreciate that. the second thing is that I never got into this channel for money. I never did. I got into this channel strictly to inform you guys, to let you guys know about movies, to maybe share some of my experiences as a kid, and parlay them into horror movie reviews. And yeah, the idea of 50,000 followers is great. The idea of getting money coming through is also great too. But I like my channel like I like everybody that I work with. You know, they know me, they watch me. They're the real people behind the scenes. They're the ones who gave me the courage to make me. And yes, my channel, believe it or not, I have people that watch me from the Netherlands, from Germany, from Australia. I have all these messages coming in about movies that are under different titles under their name that I review for them. And that's great. So I'm asking you guys. I'm asking everybody that watches my channel. I want you guys to write me. For the first time, I'm actually asking this. And tell me if I should contact this woman. Because to me, it seems a little shady that just now that this woman is coming out of the woodwork. But she could be the real deal. Let's be honest. And, you know, I've been on YouTube a couple of years. And I've amassed a pretty cool following of people. And you guys are the ones that I do everything for. You know, if you guys want me to watch a movie, I will go search it out. If you guys tell me about a movie from another country that's under another title, I will scope it out. I will find it. And I will talk about it. You know, if somebody at work asks me, hey, dude, you see Amityville Horror, this and that, I will watch it. Now, granted, I can't do everything immediately because I am married. Real life takes charge of that, just like today. I wanted to sit home and play Call of Duty because I love the zombies mode. My dad's coming over. He wants to do Christmas lights. That takes priority, you know. But I'm not saying that I wouldn't do it for a lot of money. I'm saying that, you know, I started this channel because people came to me for movie recommendations. That's how this whole thing got started. And I sent it to my buddy. And my buddy said, dude, you should put yourself on YouTube. And I said, I don't really want to do that. This was back in the day. And he says, dude, do it. Because there are people that don't want to hear what Roger Ebert or Gene Siskel or some of these other movie reviewers talk about. They want to hear what Greg wants to say. And I said, okay. So I did the first movie. I did A Quiet Place review, and I sent it to him. And I knew I was going to put it on the net, guys, and I was scared to death. I closed my eyes. I was rambling on incoherently at some points. It was the worst review in the history of YouTube reviews. Trust me, go back and watch it, and you'll see. And I sent it to him. I said, Jay, this sucks. And he goes, no, it don't. No, it don't. I said, why don't it suck? He goes, because you had the courage to put it out there. And then he told me that listening to me, he hears something he doesn't hear with normal YouTube reviewers and, you know, people that just ramble on. He hears a little bit of my personality trickle down through it. And I've watched a ton of reviews on horror films or video games, and the only one that I can relate to or that I see that in is the Rad Brad. And there's a lot of people I watch on YouTube, don't get me wrong, but he brings it to where he feels like he's in the room talking to you. And I wanted to convey that with all the people that watch me. That I want you to feel like I'm in the room and we had just got done watching a movie and these are my thoughts, you know. Or if something reminds me of something as a little kid, I want you to know about it. Or if I see a scene in a movie that reminds me of another movie, I'm going to compare it. That's how my brain works. So, money would be nice, yes, but I didn't get into this for the money. I got into it to strictly entertain, and to inform. And sometimes my opinion comes out. Now, there are things in YouTube that I will not talk about. I will not talk about politics. I will not talk about certain things in my life because they are very too personal. But there's a lot of things I will cover in here, and I will let you guys know. If somebody right now asks me a question about something personal that happened in my life, yes, I'm going to tell you. Just like that whole thing with my ex-girlfriends. I got that out there because people were asking me. We got into a conversation, me and a buddy, and it just came up. And you know what? It hurt to come up. And I felt that story, being shared on YouTube would help some people out. Just like the bad doctor thing. I was screwed around by that doctor, and I wasn't going to sit idly by and let her walk over me. So yes, I told you guys about it. I didn't name names, but I wish I could, but I didn't. And I told you guys that story because I wanted to help people. I didn't want anybody I know falling into that trap, because if something I say or a story I tell you could help you out, and you could watch a stupid horror movie on top of that, I think my job is done. And I try to come to you guys and tell you guys things that happened or things that I might see over the weekend, just like this Tony Todd thing. To me, that hurts. The guy is going to be missed by the horror community. Now, I know there's a lot of people that don't care. There really isn't a lot of people that don't care about horror films. They could care less. But for the people that do, I want to bring it to their doorstep and say, hey, this happened. But I never started this channel to get millions and millions and millions of people watching me. Because it just wasn't about that at that time. And then I get a letter or a text message in one of my emails or one of my replies, and it says, hey, contact me. Well, I'm not too sure. I want you guys tell me what you think, But the other thing is that I cannot make YouTube videos all the time. I have a regular job. I work from 6 to 2. I work in a company that I can't keep taking off work to parlay movies to you. I also do a lot of things behind the scenes you guys don't know about. I help in my company. I help a kid with golden heart syndrome. I work with, I don't want to say mentally challenged or any of that thing. I want to say I work with unique people. I'll just put it that way. Because my company that I work for is an Ability One company. And I'm out there and I'm trying every day in that company to do the best I can. And you know what? Sometimes I don't. And sometimes my ego gets, it has gotten the best of me many, many times. And I need help just like the rest of the world need help, And for me to come on here and give you guys a great review, it's nothing. It's like fun time to me. But what I'm trying to illustrate is that I actually have, a real job, and I have people like the kid with golden heart syndrome. His name's Eric. He, believe it or not, he looks up to me like I'm a Michael Jordan type figure. And you know what I told him? I said, if I can make a difference in your life, that's better than any money in the whole world. Because that's priceless. You can't put a price on that. And, or I'll come here and I'll do a movie review and I'll tell somebody, and they're like 50,000 reviews behind. So they don't want to jump around. They want to watch my stuff somehow in chronological order. I don't understand that. But the point I'm trying to make is that I am not on here 24/7 dropping YouTube videos. If I see something that I think is interesting or controversial or any of that nature, yes, I'm going to drop a line. But my life is not strictly video. You know, I have a life outside of here where I'm in a company where I help people and people help me. And I am married. You guys know that. And it's like it becomes a juggling act. You know, to do what you want. That's like right now, it's 4 a.m. in the morning. She's up there sleeping. And I'm down here cutting this. Because like I just told you, my dad's coming over to do Christmas lights. So anything that I want to do, I got to figure out the time frame and then go for it. And I also have friends that, you know, want to know about all these great splatter films that are really disgusting that most people wouldn't touch. Because I'm the guy that goes out and watches all this garbage or stuff. And I relay my thoughts, you know. And I think that's why I'm different, is because I do formulate a different opinion than most. Some will just say, oh, American Guinea Pig, full of gore, not very well written, no dialogue, check it out if you're bored. But I bring my thoughts into it and I say, you know what? This kind of changed the whole cinema landscape. It basically became notorious, and I go on about that whole thing. And I think people find films more interesting that way than when you just give a generic review. But anyway, the core of the thing is, you guys tell me if I should even try to get back to this woman, if you think this is a scam, whatever you guys think. I've always done stuff for you. I've always found movies, watched them for you. Anybody that has given me a recommendation, I have always tried to follow it up or find its alternate title in the United States. So that's my rant about that. One little quick thing, other than that, we're going to jump off the horror train for a minute. One of my favorite non-horror directors is Kevin Smith. I don't know if anybody knew that, but now you do. I let the cat out of the bag. Oh my God. Greg watches comedy. Whoa. Yes, Greg does. Greg watches all kinds of comedy. But if you guys didn't know, this is a kind of interesting little fact, is that he made Dogma with Miramax Pictures. And that film was released, I think it was released in 1999. I can't read the little small fine print. But interesting story about this film, because I never really did cover this. Basically, Kevin Smith made a sort of, I want to say, farce type movie about angels, devil, and believe it or not, a walking poop monster. That's right, I said it. Anyway, when this film was released, it stirred the controversy pot more than some films ever have. It rattled the Catholic diocese. It rattled parents. The marketing campaign was pulled off of TV because Christians around the world, like myself, but I didn't do it, were upset at what they didn't understand. So Kevin Smith arranged a screening of this film with some of the higher up religious people. And there was a cardinal, I believe, that watched the movie with some of his associates and liked most things about it, but didn't like some of the things about it, such as the language, violence, some other stuff. So anyway, this film was originally titled God, and it was produced by Miramax Films, which was owned by the infamous Harvey Weinstein, who's now rotting in jail. So, for a long time, this film has been unavailable. It came out on DVD right after, it premiered in the theater, as, movies did back then. I don't believe if it was ever on pay-per-view channels. I don't believe so. But for years, it's been unavailable, even to stream, because of a whole Miramax lawsuit. Well, Kevin Smith actually got the rights back to this film. And this film, to my knowledge, has never ever been on Blu-ray. It's only been put out on HD DVD. You remember that thing? You got the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One, and you put it in there, and it was the HD DVD. I think it was the Xbox 360 did that, and you got the HD DVD. Well, I had that. And then in a few years before the whole movie disappeared off the face of the earth, they made a collector's edition, which is jam-packed with deleted scenes, outtakes, storyboards, the making of, the whole 9 yards. Well, I bought that too, because I loved the movie. I thought it was great. Ben Affleck, and it had a great cast. It was Ben Affleck, Chris Rock, Alan Rickman, of course, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes reprising their roles as Jay and Silent Bob, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Right there from the 90s, power team like you wouldn't believe. Salma Hayek, and playing God, believe it or not, was Alanis Morissette. And it was a very, very awesome movie. And it also came under fire because Matt Damon's character apparently goes on a rampage in a Disney-style boardroom, which they were going to pull the movie for. So this movie generated a lot of controversy. But in the end, if you don't take it seriously, it was a very, very cool ride. A lot of Kevin Smith regulars are in this. But anyway, it was locked away in the Miramax vault because of a lawsuit and because Harvey Weinstein didn't want to give up the rights to it. So Kevin Smith came out and he said, I just got it back and we're going to do this movie proper. So he's re-showing it in theaters, I believe, next year with a Blu-ray release coming out. And I'm assuming that the Blu-ray release is going to have everything that this deluxe double edition has on it. Kevin Smith has always been my guy. I've loved him since the day I saw him. And one of my first movies ever, and I fell in love with him as a director, was Clerks. And guys, I'm going to tell you a little secret, because I always give you little tidbits of stuff. I saw Clerks, believe it or not, when I was 16 years old. That was, to me, that was the most iconic Generation X, before Generation X existed. I loved the film. It was unconventional. It was shot on a budget. And it's like something you and your best friend can make. But as vulgar and as nasty as it was, it had a lot of heart. And you identified with either one of the two characters, Dante or Randall. Played by Jeff Anderson. Jeff Anderson played Randall, and yeah, it was very cool. And but anyway, Dogma is now going to be released from the vault, and I hope a lot of people check it out. Now, it did, like I said, it drew a lot of fire when it was released. I can remember that the little commercial for it ran maybe about, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks before it was pulled. And they actually, one of the things that actually was totally wrong about it, or you could look at it as a hell of a spoof, was they had George Carlin as a cardinal when he was still alive. So Dogma is a very, very interesting film. A lot of controversy created that. But then, like Kevin Smith said, if these people, these critics, would take films a little less seriously. You cannot take a film seriously that has a rubber poop monster in it. You just can't do it. I'm sorry. But this was filmed at a time when people were losing their minds over film. You don't see that too much now. You don't see people go nuts over films the way they used to. This one, Silent Night, Deadly Night, The Last Temptation of Christ by Martin Scorsese. I mean, films used to be picketed, and you would think that a movie was the worst. The Exorcist, that thing was almost. But my point is, you get these people, these fanatical people that come out, and they used to attack a movie, And my whole thinking, I think a little bit differently than most people. Movies don't influence your behavior. Movies don't make you do anything. Because movies, let's be honest, and Greg will say this just because, movies are fake. You know? They are. They're I look at them as like a group of kids getting around and playing and letting their imagination run wild. That's why movies never affect me. You know? And, controversy or not, it's an entertaining ride. Controversies start because people think and become objectionable to the material they're seeing. Or they don't like what they see. But you know what? In a movie, especially a comedy movie or an action movie or even a horror film, they're not real. This story isn't real. It's fake. You're watching a fake story and you're being entertained by it. You know? To just what degree or what intensity, I guess, is the next question. But anyway, yeah, this film was put out by Lionsgate and then, like I said, quickly pulled, and you cannot find it streaming anywhere. Smith has reiterated the fact that he was going to try to get it on Amazon Prime or some streaming service because a lot of people did miss this. And this is part of the Jersey trilogy, this is number 4. So you can't really count this as a trilogy. This is the start of a new movie. But yeah, all-star cast: Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Linda Florentino, Selma Hayek, Jason Lee. Jason Lee went on to play in My Name is Earl after he did all these films. Jason Mewes, Alan Rickman, Chris Rock, and of course Alanis Morissette reprising her role as God. You guys need to check this out. I watched this. I'm a devout Catholic. I watched this. I didn't find it objectionable. But there are films that I do find objectionable that I will not touch with a 10-foot pole. And the Vomit Gore trilogy being one of them. I have a hell of a tolerance. And, this is a satire. You can't take it seriously. And I think that's what most people did back in the day. They took this film seriously, and they thought it was going to really damage the image of not only the Catholic Church, but the image of Christianity. And you know what? It didn't do it. It was just a fun romp. I mean, what else can I say? It's a satire. It didn't really hurt me, but I could see, some of the angles that were in here back in the day. I could see how it could upset the Catholic Church and so on and so forth. But like I said, this movie has a very controversial history, but when you watch it, it really is not that bad. And I think sometimes the hype of a controversy makes it worse than what it is. I think that's how we're going to end this movie talk segment, is that the bigger the controversy, the bigger the hype, and it makes it almost overblown. So, anyway, R.I.P. to Tony Todd. We'll be missing you, bro. And let's look out for that Dogma Blu-ray.